At 65, I made a choice that changed everything. It wasn't a regret, but a pivotal turn that taught me 5 hard truths about keeping my mind sharp. I wish someone had shared these insights with me sooner. When I first retired, the relief was immense. No more alarms, no demanding schedules, just endless, quiet mornings with my cup of tea. It was wonderful at first. I pictured years of leisurely reading, gardening, and peaceful days. But after the initial bliss, a quiet ennui began to set in, a subtle dullness I couldn't quite name. I found myself forgetting names more often, losing my train of thought mid-sentence, or struggling to focus on a book for long. My mind, once a bustling library, felt like it was slowly gathering dust. What happened to that sharp, active mind I'd always relied on? The real wake-up call came when I saw my dear friend Martha. She had retired a few years before me, a vibrant, witty woman. But after just a year, Martha seemed to fade. Her once sharp wit dulled, her memory faltered, and she started repeating stories, sometimes within minutes. It was like watching a light slowly dim. I saw the fear in her eyes, and a cold dread settled in my own heart. I loved Martha, but I knew I couldn't let that happen to me. Her decline wasn't just a sad event. It was a stark warning, a mirror reflecting a future I desperately wanted to avoid. I realized then that keeping my mind sharp wasn't a passive process. It was a fight I needed to actively join. So, I made a decision that surprised everyone, especially myself. I decided to learn computer coding. Me, Eleanor Vance, a retired librarian, tackling algorithms and syntax. My family thought it was eccentric, but for me, it was a lifeline. I needed something completely new, something challenging, that would force my brain to engage, to stretch, to truly wake up again. This journey into the unfamiliar world of coding was far more than just a hobby. It was an unexpected adventure that revealed 5 hard truths about keeping your mind sharp as you age. And I'm here to share them with you. Now, let's talk about the first hard truth I discovered on my journey to keep my mind sharp at 65. It's something many of us, myself included, misunderstand about retirement. I used to think retirement meant endless relaxation, a time to finally put my feet up and just breeze. But I learned, quite quickly, that relaxation isn't the same as mental engagement. Your brain, much like any other muscle in your body, needs to be used, to be challenged. If you stop lifting weights, your muscles atrophy, right? Well, if you stop flexing your mind, it begins to weaken too. I thought I'd earned endless relaxation. What I got instead was a creeping, unsettling mental sluggishness. At first, it was subtle. After years of a demanding career, the quiet days felt like a gift. No deadlines, no complex problems to solve, no new systems to learn. But then, I started noticing how easy everything became. My morning routine was on autopilot. My trips to the grocery store? Always the same route. If I needed to calculate a tip, out came my phone. For directions, GPS was always there. These modern conveniences, which are wonderful in their own right, also removed the small mental exercises I didn't even realize I was doing. My brain just coasted. And then I noticed the little things slipping. A name on the tip of my tongue that wouldn't come, forgetting why I walked into a room, feeling a bit foggy when trying to follow a complex conversation. It was a comfort trap, disguised as convenience. I saw this play out even more starkly in others. I remember Arthur, a former colleague from the library. He retired a few years before me, full of plans for travel and hobbies. But when I saw him a year later, his spark seemed dimmed. He'd tell me his days were a blur of morning coffee, the news, a long nap, then an afternoon of television until dinner. He was doing nothing much, as he put it. Arthur was a sharp man, a brilliant researcher in his prime, but without consistent mental challenge, without new inputs, even he faded. His conversations became repetitive. His memory for recent events, like what he had for lunch yesterday, became surprisingly poor. It wasn't that he was unwell, not in the traditional sense, but his mind simply ran out of fuel. because it wasn't being asked to do anything demanding. It was a stark warning to me. So if you're like I was, enjoying your well-deserved rest, I urge you to ask yourself, are you truly stimulating your mind, or just letting it drift? Don't let comfort become complacency. Find something new to learn, a puzzle to solve, a skill to master, even if it's just learning a new recipe or taking a different route on your daily walk. It's not just about finding a new hobby. It's about preserving the incredible gift of your mind. Challenge yourself every single day. Your future self will thank you for it. And it's the most vital step in keeping your mind sharp, vibrant, and fully engaged for years to come. After a while, the initial thrill of endless free time started to settle into something else, something quieter, more predictable. And that brings me to the second hard truth I uncovered on my journey. Routine, without novelty, makes your brain lazy. Oh, the comfort of knowing what each day would bring. My morning coffee, the same news program, tending to my little garden, always in the same order. My days were like a well-worn path. Easy to follow, certainly, but I realized I had stopped looking at the scenery. There was no need for my mind to adapt, to explore, to even fully pay attention. And slowly, subtly, that mental spark I cherished started to dim. I started doing a bit of reading, you see, once I decided to tackle coding, and I learned about something called neuroplasticity, a fancy word for our brain's incredible ability to change and form new connections throughout our lives. It's like a vibrant garden. If you keep planting the same single flower in the same spot, year after year, it might be pretty, but the soil won't be as rich, and the variety won't be there. Our brains thrive on newness. Routine starves them of it. When we stick to the same patterns, we're not asking our brains to build those new pathways. I remember when I first tried to navigate a new online forum for coding. It felt like trying to walk through thick mud. Every click, every new button was a challenge. My brain had gotten so used to the familiar that anything novel felt like a mountain to climb. I saw this play out with my neighbor, Clara, a lovely woman, a retired accountant, who was meticulous in every aspect of her life. Her daily schedule was set in stone. Breakfast at 7, walk at 8, read the paper, watch her favorite show, dinner at 5, and for a long time, it seemed to serve her. But then, if a doctor's appointment changed or a grocery item was out of stock, she'd become visibly flustered. She'd get lost going to a new shop just 2 streets over, even with directions. It wasn't that she was losing her mind, but rather that her mind had grown so accustomed to its unchanging world that it struggled fiercely with anything unexpected. Her comfort zone, while safe and predictable, slowly became a cage for her mind, limiting her ability to navigate or even enjoy the world beyond her fixed routine. I watched, concerned, as her world seemed to shrink with each passing year, not because she couldn't do more, but because her mind was no longer prepared to try. So, if your days feel a bit too much like that well-worn path, I urge you to shake things up. You don't need to start coding overnight, of course. It can be as simple as taking a new route to the grocery store, trying a recipe from a cuisine you've never explored, or picking up a book by an author you've never read. Even using your non-dominant hand for simple tasks can awaken new neural connections. When was the last time you did something truly new, just for the sake of novelty? It's not about grand adventures, but about small, consistent deviations that challenge your brain to adapt, to problem solve, to think differently. Your mind, your most incredible tool, will thank you for the adventure. When I decided to learn coding, I imagined the challenge would be understanding the logic, memorizing the syntax, or troubleshooting complex errors. And yes, those were hard. But the biggest obstacle, the one that truly surprised me, wasn't the difficulty of the material at all. It was the whisper in my ear, the one that kept telling me, "You're too old for this, Eleanor. You're going to look foolish." That, my friends, is the third hard truth about keeping your mind sharp. The biggest obstacle isn't the difficulty, it's the fear of looking foolish. I remember my first few weeks sitting there, staring at lines of code that refused to work. Every wrong line felt like a public failure, even though I was alone in my quiet home office. The embarrassment was palpable, even if only I was witnessing my own struggle. It's a feeling I hadn't truly felt since childhood. For decades, I'd been competent. As a librarian, I knew how to find answers, organize information, and help others with confidence. My life had been built on a foundation of knowing what I was doing. So to suddenly be a novice again, to feel utterly lost and confused by something so fundamental, was jarring. Adults, especially those of us who have lived a full life, often expect instant mastery. We've forgotten the joyful, messy process of being a beginner. Unlike children who just dive in, eager to learn, unafraid of making a mess. I remember trying to follow a simple coding tutorial, and I'd missed a tiny comma. My program wouldn't run. I felt a wave of frustration and a disproportionate sense of failure, thinking, how could I miss something so obvious? It's moments like those that can make you want to throw in the towel. We forget how to be bad at something, and that's a dangerous thing for our minds. It stops us from even trying. But then I thought of Mr. Henderson. He was a wonderful gentleman I knew from the community center, a retired accountant who, at 75, decided to take up oil painting. His initial results, to put it kindly, were terrible. His landscapes looked like a child's finger painting, and his portraits, well, let's just say they had character. Yet, Mr. Henderson never stopped smiling. He'd proudly show off his latest canvas, not for its perfection, but for the joy he found in the process. "It's not about the masterpiece, Eleanor," he told me once, his eyes twinkling. "It's about the brushstroke. It's about feeling the paint, seeing the colors, and letting your hand create." He truly focused on the joy of creating, not the outcome. Mr. Henderson showed me that joy isn't reserved for mastery. It's in the attempt, in the stretch, in the simple act of trying something new. His enthusiasm was infectious, and it was a powerful reminder that our worth isn't tied to our immediate success. Mr. Henderson's perspective became my anchor. I began to reframe my failures as learning opportunities. Every error in my code wasn't a sign of my inadequacy, but a puzzle to solve, a chance to grow new neural pathways. It's about giving yourself permission to be imperfect, to be a beginner, and to find the delight in that journey. Are you letting the fear of imperfection stop you from growing? Are you telling yourself you're too old, too slow, too clumsy to try that new thing? Remember, the act of trying, of stretching your mind, is what truly matters. It's the movement, the effort, the engagement that keeps your brain vibrant, not just the final result. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. Your mind will thank you for the adventure. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment Truth 3 below to let me know you're here. Have you felt this fear of failure when considering something new? What new skill, big or small, have you always wanted to try but held back because of that inner critic? Share your thoughts, because your experiences can inspire others. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. I've shared a few hard truths with you so far, but this next one I think hits closest to home for many of us. When I first considered learning coding, there was a little voice, an ageist whisper that crept into my mind. It said, "Eleanor, you're 65. You're too old for this." What are you thinking? I know many of you might recognize that voice. It's insidious, isn't it? It's not just an internal thought. It's a belief often reinforced by society or even well-meaning family members. But here's the fourth hard truth I learned. The idea that it's too late is a dangerous illusion, not a biological fact. Asterisk, this mindset, this belief that our minds lose their capacity to learn simply because we've reached a certain age, can be far more damaging than any actual decline. That voice, "You're too old," is a lie we tell ourselves, often believed by others too. But our brains, my friends, are incredible. They don't just stop learning at a certain age. The scientific truth is, our brains maintain an amazing capacity called neuroplasticity throughout our entire lives. That means they can continue to form new connections, adapt, and even generate new brain cells, a process called adult neurogenesis. While learning might feel a little different than it did when we were younger, Perhaps we don't pick things up quite as quickly. It's still profoundly possible and incredibly beneficial. In fact, as older learners, we bring unique advantages to the table: wisdom from decades of experience, patience that often eludes younger students, and a perspective that can connect new information to a vast network of existing knowledge. Our brains are truly built for lifelong growth. So if you've been telling yourself it's too late, I want you to stop right now. Don't let that illusion steal another day of potential growth and joy from you. Don't wait for the perfect time, because the perfect time is always right now. What dream, what skill, what area of knowledge have you put off exploring because you thought the clock had run out? It hasn't. Your mind is still vibrant, still capable, still hungry for new experiences. Take that first step today, even if it's a tiny one. The mental rewards, the renewed sense of purpose, and the sheer exhilaration of learning something new are waiting for you. The only too late is never starting. Your mind is ready when you are. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment Truth 4 below to let me know you're here. And more importantly, share with us. What's one thing you've always wanted to learn, but perhaps told yourself it was too late for? Let's inspire each other. What's your Agnes story waiting to happen? Your thoughts are important to us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward to our final, and perhaps most crucial, truth. When I first started learning to code, I approached it like I had always approached my studies. Alone, with a stack of books and a quiet determination. I thought it was just me against the computer, a private challenge to keep my mind sharp. But quickly, the frustration of errors, the complex logic, and the sheer volume of new information started to feel overwhelming. There were evenings I'd stare at the screen, a knot in my stomach, feeling utterly isolated. That's when the fifth hard truth hit me. True mental sharpness isn't just solitary study. It thrives in connection. I learned that struggling alone is far harder than struggling together. Our brains, you see, are wired for interaction. Human conversation, the give and take of ideas, the act of explaining something to another person, these aren't just social niceties. They're powerful cognitive exercises, stimulating parts of our minds that quiet, solitary learning often misses. I knew I needed a change, so I tentatively searched for online coding groups specifically for seniors. And, to my surprise, I found one. It was a small, virtual community, but the shift was immediate and profound. Suddenly, I wasn't just learning code. I was part of something bigger. When I hit a snag, I could post my question and receive kind, patient explanations from fellow learners. When I finally cracked a difficult problem, sharing that triumph with others who understood the effort felt exhilarating. We'd have weekly video calls, discussing our progress, laughing at our mistakes, and even teaching each other new tricks we'd discovered. That act of explaining a concept to someone else, I found, solidified my own understanding in a way rote memorization never could. The emotional support, the accountability of knowing others were on this journey too, it wasn't just a comfort. It was a powerful fuel for my mind. My mind felt alive. This experience showed me something critical. Social connection itself is a powerful brain booster, regardless of the specific skill you're learning. It's not just about discussing code or a book. It's about the very act of engaging with other human beings. Think about it. When you're conversing, you're listening, processing information, recalling memories, formulating responses, empathizing with another person's perspective. All of these actions stimulate different parts of your brain, keeping those neural pathways vibrant and active. I started noticing it everywhere. I saw seniors in my community who joined book clubs not just to read but to debate and discuss. Others taking dance classes, where learning steps together built not only physical coordination but social bonds. These group settings combated loneliness, yes, but they also provided a profound sense of purpose and belonging. We're not meant to be solitary learners. our minds and our spirits flourish with others. So my advice to you is this: don't go it alone. If you're thinking about learning something new, or even if you just want to keep your mind sharp, look for your tribe. Explore your local community center for classes or groups. Search online for forums or virtual communities dedicated to your interests, whether it's gardening, history, or even advanced chess. Technology has made it easier than ever to connect with like-minded individuals, no matter where you are. And if you can't find a group, why not start one with a few friends? Even a weekly coffee chat where you all discuss an article or a new puzzle can make a difference. Ask yourself, who are you sharing your learning journey with? Don't go it alone. Find your people and watch your mind and your world expand. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment Truth 5 below to let me know you're here. And tell me, how do you connect with others for learning or mental stimulation? Your experiences are so valuable, and your comments inspire me. Let's keep this conversation going. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward to our final thoughts. Looking back to that quiet dread I felt after retirement, the subtle creep of mental stagnation, it almost feels like another lifetime. This journey, from a hesitant beginner staring at lines of code to someone who now eagerly seeks out new challenges, has been nothing short of a rediscovery. My mind feels sharper, my days are richer, and I have a renewed sense of purpose that I didn't know I was missing. It wasn't just about learning coding. It was about confronting those 5 hard truths: that pure relaxation isn't mental engagement, that routine can dull your edge, that the fear of failure is just a hurdle, that it's never too late, and that learning thrives in community. I'm so incredibly grateful I embarked on this path, proving to myself that the best is still very much within reach. This isn't just about me, though. It's about all of us, about the kind of life we want to live as we age, and the legacy we want to leave. A sharp mind allows you to continue your independence, to engage fully with your family, to enjoy every book, every conversation, every moment, without the fog of forgetfulness. It's a gift you give yourself, yes, but it's also a gift to everyone around you. When you're vibrant and engaged, you inspire, you connect, you truly live. So, I have to ask you, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? One of quiet decline, or one of vibrant, curious engagement? Your mind is your most precious asset. Invest in it. Nurture it. Let it shine, not just for you, but for all the lives you touch. Let's prioritize our mental well-being as fiercely as we do our physical health. I hope my story and these 5 hard truths have resonated with you and perhaps even sparked a little fire. Remember, it's never too late to start. Even the smallest step, a new recipe, a different walking route, a puzzle, or a conversation with someone new, can make a difference. Your brain is ready to learn and grow, but it needs you to take that first step. So what will your first step be? What new skill or challenge will you embrace? Thank you for joining me on this journey today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now go, explore, learn, and live vividly.